Tina, what the heck are you watching?
Cartoons.
What? But aren't those for kids?
Yes, no. They're also for adults. I'm an adult. So Netflix is not only hosting, but now producing a lot of animation. Do we know why?
Well, also, Netflix has a lot of money that a lot of these cartoons and people producing cartoons, need the funding. And Netflix is now such a great avenue for these creators because they aren't beholden to all the same regulations or, all the different TV rules and everything else. So they're able to really go above and beyond with their content.
And then Disney's yanked their contract with them, so they don't have that revenue coming in from those streams or pulling, the kids shows from it.
Exactly. And so they need something to kind of counteract that, because without all those Disney animations, and obviously Disney Plus, which is what they're calling it now, will have a lot of animation because that's their bread and butter, or originally was. So they're going to need to come up with more original content in that way. And I know with their partnering with DreamWorks, it seems like there's a lot of DreamWorks original Netflix shows on there right now. Some of them are based off of old DreamWorks pictures that are actually films first. Like How to Train Your Dragon, and then others are actual original content.
And then smaller creators are pitching things to Netflix. So you get things from comics, kind of niche things that are really reaching people that say Disney can't.
Exactly, and because Disney is a large property and they have their own way of doing things and they have their rules, as we all know. So,
and I think they're branching out because originally when Netflix started their originals, it was more TV based.
Oh,
shows.
definitely.
And it's really good for animation because you don't have to do Adventure Time,
mathematical
where it's one and done. You can actually do a storyline much better in a binge watching session than you can. Right. So it's really geared towards, I guess, animation that's going to tell you a story, and that's what seems to be going on with Voltron and these other cartoons.
Exactly right.
So leading to that, since I mentioned Voltron, what animations are perking your interest? Because I want to watch it.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I think the first one for me, and maybe the most obvious because it just came out recently, is Shira and the Princesses of Power. Oh my God. And that is a DreamWorks animation, like we talked about. And so that came out in November. And it is, I've never seen the original comic.
I haven't either.
Or the original
I did.
cartoon.
I was a huge fan of the original Shira, Princess of Power. I was waiting, I'm how are they going to do Glimmer? How are they going to do Madame Rez? Who's gonna, what are these characters gonna look like? So I was really interested in how they changed it and the dynamics of it.
How'd you feel about the costume change?
I actually really loved it.
I did too.
I've
I
heard
don't care.
a lot of negative talk, and I think it's from old school, older fanboys.
Yes,
really.
Yeah.
Because
probably
they're
is.
why would you take this woman and turn her into a girl?
Teenage girl who wears a skirt. There is nothing wrong with the skirt. It's probably a lot more comfortable.
I think it's a good role model. It's for young girls, it's you don't have to wear, revealing clothes. You can wear the boy shorts and still kick butt,
And I think this show is a very good role model for girls. I mean, because it takes the idea of a princess and turns it on its head.
Right.
We're talking about princesses. They're the ones to fear, according to this horde, which is run by a man, let's say, and it is. So it's interesting that whole concept turned on its head in a way.
It is. It's written by Noel Stevenson, which also did Lumberjanes, which has a lot of
so good. Yes,
which has an interesting power dynamic all of its own. And I think you're right. Yeah. She really took this Princess of Power and she really made her a Princess of Power. When Shira transforms, in the original one, she's just this woman, with this outfit.
Yes.
But Shira now gets muscles, if you notice in the show.
Yeah.
She actually gets muscles, and I'm she is really a Princess of Power. And they really hammer that home that this is a princess, but she is powerful in her own right.
Exactly.
And there's good guy role models too, because if you think about the one main guy in the group, Bo. And what's great about him is that he doesn't fit the usual stereotype of a guy either. He's the one with the crop top that he prefers.
It's so funny he took it off in that episode, the princess prom. Oh, it was so adorable.
He was something's wrong with this. Fixed it.
He fixed it completely.
And it has such good storylines about friendship and how you deal with that. And I love how they talk about the horde in there too.
I agree.
Because it's not just everyone has their views of each other, right?
Yes.
Right.
But even the main character, Adora, her best friend is still part of the Horde.
Yes.
And she's from the Horde. So she knows that there's still good everywhere.
Yes.
It's just, I love it. I really hope everyone, all boys and girls and adults, I hope everyone's watching it.
I think this is an all age, all gender site, because you can watch it with your daughter.
And I have, she loves it. She loves the princess. She loves fighting with swords anyway, so this is perfect combination. Because most of the Disney princesses don't fight with swords. And I just love everything about it. And like you said, with the characters, there's a lot of fluidity too to their sexuality and stuff, which I think is really progressive and something that needs to happen. And even with young children's shows, we need to see that there's a lot of variety out there. It's not just these stock heterosexual archetypes
and body types.
And body types. Glimmer is not a stick figure.
Much.
I know.
It was all very Steven Universe reminiscent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, is there a more adult animation that you're into?
Oh, absolutely. There's Castlevania, and if you guys haven't seen this, you need to. I'm a big fan of the games. I've played, a few of them, and if you recognize the name Alucard, there's a scene where he just rises from his coffin, and it's just...
I know, you stopped and you're like, oh, holy hell.
I'm like, oh man. You know what I mean?
It's at it now.
Yeah. You'll know the scene. Yeah. So, but it's very adult. It's very bloody. It was written in 2007 by Warren Ellis, who writes other comics and things
Next
like that.
Wave, right?
He was the sole author, and it just kind of sat on it for a number of years. And
I was worried about that because I heard they had acquired rights, but nothing had come of it.
Yeah. Well, it was initially offered to someone to do it as I forget the name, a live action, but the guy was such a fan of the Castlevania series, he's like, we're gonna do it right, you know what I mean? He actually refused it.
Oh,
you know
really?
what I mean? So he thanks to him, we have this wonderful cartoon.
It is great, yeah. But you're right. Kid-friendly.
So.
And the animation is gorgeous. That's the thing about Netflix is that if you have a cartoon on Netflix, you have so much more of an opportunity for really high quality animation, great
really
frame rate.
Because
it's gorgeous.
It is.
And the music arrangement is great.
Yes.
I think part of the reason they can do something like that is most of their money when Netflix licenses a show, it goes to licensing it. They're just basically borrowing this property and streaming it. Now with this, when they have a hand on it, they have some of the licensing properties. So they're able to cut out some of that middle money. They can just go ahead and take that money that they would have spent for that licensing of that product and go ahead and put it in the production.
Oh, that's great.
And with Castlevania, the thing that excited me is loving the game series and being like, I guess, a whore for Symphony of the Night. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we are.
It comes in between Castlevania 3
okay.
and then Curse of Darkness, which is where where Hector comes from.
Gotcha.
So yeah, he's one of the generals, and it's kind of like a story of redemption. And I played it back in college,
so
and it was great.
You see the whole setup for his story. And
I'm like, wait, I know that guy and that guy and that guy, and wait, what's that? What are that? The monsters? You know what I mean? And so you see these little Easter eggs, all throughout the series. It's
I think
really,
that's what
really
makes
nice.
that show. If you are a fan of the game series, you get all these nice little presents and Easter eggs in it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go back and watch because I know I missed a lot in the Belmont's little mansion, or I guess their underground storage, because they had so many homages to the game. You see original monsters from Symphony of the Night, from Castlevania. You have the whips, you have the whole history, and it doesn't just say, okay, we're going to take Symphony of the Night, we're going to take, Castlevania, and we're just going to do the story based on this one game. They're going to say, hey, we're going to take this world, and we're going to start building in on it. And it was approved by Konami, which is the greatest thing.
I love that, yeah.
That is
the
awesome.
script is Konami approved, so.
That's great.
Yes.
That's really cool.
Do you have something you like?
All right, so definitely I want to mention Dragon Prince.
Oh, yeah.
It's made by the same writer as Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yes. Aaron Ahaz, I think. Yeah.
Yes. And it's a definitely a different take than Avatar, so you can't really go into it thinking that it's going to be Avatar. It's a different animation style.
Definitely a different animation
and a much
style.
more fantasy, typical fantasy setting.
Oh, yeah.
So you've got the humans versus the more magical people, which is a classic story, right?
Yep.
So you have your two main characters that are princes in the human world.
Callum and Ezron.
Which is a whole different family dynamic, too.
Right, because one of them is adopted. And also, the king in this realm is black, which is really cool to see.
Which is different.
Cool.
Yeah, and that's, it's sad that that's something that can be really excited about. This should be normal.
It should be normalized, but I was really excited. I was like, oh, that's really progressive. And I was like, that's really sad that I just thought that about.
Yeah. So you have these two characters, they're brothers or stepbrothers, and they run into an elf girl who is sent to kill their father. And they sort of team up after they find the dragon prince egg.
Yes.
And I think we're going to bring this over to the magical people, the magical realm, and we're going to charter this peace.
Yes.
And we're going to make this happen for us. And it's a really great story. It's very much in its infancy right now.
Yes, it is. Even by the end of the first season, there's still a lot to explore. It hasn't even quite been done.
I could tell just from, and I binge watched. This is one of the ones where I didn't have a lot of hope for, even though I really, really loved Avatar. Just something about like the animation that I saw in the previews was something off-putting, and I realized that they had done it, or I heard it was done purposeful, that they had slowed the frame rate down.
And it originally for floatiness is what they called it.
Well, it bugged me at first, but then you get really used to it, and I binge watched it. It was much better than I had expected.
Well, what's interesting about that is actually they had come out with in a recent interview with the creator, Aaron, he had mentioned that there was a lot of criticism by critics, fans, about the actual animation itself. They said sometimes it felt disjointed and not very fluid, and they said they were going to fix it or make it better for the next season. So I'm interested to see what they do with that. Because that's something that I figured, well, this is your design, this is what you're going for. But it'll be really interesting. And it's funny because we talked about being Avatar, and I didn't want to make comparison to Avatar, but it's so hard not to, because you have your three central characters. Callum, who is voiced by Jack DeSena, who played Sokka in the original Avatar: Last Airbender.
I didn't think that at first.
And he is so a Sokka character. He always has that kind of comic relief.
Ow! That doesn't prove anything.
Ezron is the goofy young kid like our Avatar Aang. And then you have Rayla, who's a more serious female with something to prove, and that is definitely Katara. Exactly. So there are those parallels, and you have the two siblings following them for their own purposes, and their evil father Viren. So there's a lot of those basic elements, right?
He doesn't start as evil. I think there's going to be a redemption story.
Yes, I agree.
And I'm really excited for the next season on that one.
Yes, I agree.
There's such a potential here, which is great. Another thing with Netflix is that we can get them all at once. And I feel like with a lot of these stories, there's such a potential for world building and story building without the too many seasons on TV,
or too many episodes,
or too many episodes.
Because we run into stuff like that, like The Simpsons, and that's what I want to talk into.
Oh yes,
I really like Disenchantment. It's created by Matt. I always get this wrong.
Groening.
Oh, Groening.
Thank you. I was going to say groaning, and there's it's graining, Tina.
Oh, God.
But it's created by him, so it does have that Simpsons feel or animation style.
Definitely a Simpson-like.
Oh yeah.
But it's very much Game of Thrones style, but it's of course his take on it.
That's awesome.
With Princess Bean.
Fantasy Futurama, basically.
Pretty much. It's essentially a fantasy Futurama.
That's great, though.
But I think if you liked Futurama, there are things that are different. The demon Lucy, I will admit, completely reminds me of Omar. It's sort of like the bad.
Yes, I can completely see that too.
Should I do this thing?
Yes, do it.
Yeah,
do it.
So I say do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
Do it. Yeah, that's what I was watching.
Should we be drinking?
Do it. Yeah, that's Omar.
No, I hate to say, this is the only one on this list that I didn't care for at all.
And I think that's
it's like this type. It's like falls into that uncanny valley of being almost witty but not quite. So it just kind of falls down the valley.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think different people have different things they want out of animation, and this is definitely not something you would enjoy. It is adult, so I wouldn't watch it with kids.
Definitely not.
Just like Castlevania.
Yeah.
Shira and Dragon Prince are
very
definitely
family
kid-friendly
friendly,
and for families and for adults. But for Disenchantment, it's very kind of more adult, and I think things are going to pick up in the next season.
I agree. Shows like this, I think we've seen that with other shows, like other comedic animated shows.
It's slow
They
to start.
take a while to get their bearings.
Right.
Because it takes a while to figure out what kind of jokes they want to tell.
What's the comedy going to be?
Yes. Because if I go back to a lot of these shows like Futurama, Simpsons, Family Guy, whatever, Bob's Burgers are the exception.
Yeah.
The whole time. Most of these shows at the beginning, they're
slow.
still figuring
because
it
they're
out.
still figuring themselves out. They're still figuring the character dynamics, and they're still figuring out, just the characters themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what Disenchantment is starting out. You're getting introduced to these characters individually. You're kind of getting the world. So this is how this world works. This is the setup for it. And then right near the end, it gets really, really good, and it leaves you on a cliffhanger.
Right.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yep.
So, but you're in luck. In 2020, there's supposed to be a season 2.
Oh, great.
So that's
we'll
what
come
I'm
back.
So would you be looking forward to the next season on this?
No, but I hope you,
like, maybe
you
you
guys
might be.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
Well, we can't all agree on everything.
Yeah,
And that's
exactly.
actually really, really
Yeah.
good because cartoons aren't for everyone.
They're
but
not.
I would say give these guys at least a chance.
I agree.
Are there any other recommendations?
Miraculous Ladybug.
She wouldn't mention that. I remember that.
Please. But it's a French cartoon. It's a very magical
Okay.
girl.
Okay.
3D. I think it's all ages. I think people of all
Great.
ages really enjoy Miraculous Ladybug.
Yeah.
I recommend that. And a lot of their anime titles. 7 Deadly Sins.
They have a
And
ton of
I didn't,
anime.
we didn't talk about those, but they
Yeah.
are producing a lot of
They are.
animation.
They are.
Japanese anime. And that was interesting because they're like doing Voltron. Let's see, I think
Yes.
there
And
was-
Voltron's great.
blew up.
Yes, it really has gotten really popular.
So that's on my bookmarked
To
next
watch
to
that.
binge
Yeah.
to watch.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
just way too many animation originals now coming out
Oh,
or
yeah.
being produced because I think
It's
they
hard
do.
to some fall under the radar. Like there's one that I just happened upon in June while my husband was away at training. My daughter and I caught it. It's called The Holo, and I was like, "This is interesting." It's a little bit of that mix between hand drawn and computer animation, and so we just watched the first episode and I was instantly hooked. It's these three
Is that one like
teenagers.
the 2031 set in?
It's set so you have to get to the point where you understand where the setting is. It's a guessing game. So it's three teenagers who wake up in like a dungeon, if you will, and they're in modern clothes and they're trying to figure out who they are and what they're doing here. They can't remember anything, and they see there's a window up above where they can escape, and then they pull out, there's like their names are on these little pieces of paper in their pockets, and then they start to realize there's like puzzles, right? So they have to solve this puzzle to get out of there, and then they realize they have powers. The one guy's really strong, one controls fire, the other one talks to animals, and so they go on this journey in this
always that
world. And it has a really cool middle twist and end twist I was not expecting.
Okay.
And we binged this, me and my daughter, who's only 3, and loves it. And she'll ask, "Can I have Adam, Kai, and Mira?" That's what she wants to watch, is The Holo. She loves it. And I can't get enough of it either. It's something you can rewatch because there's so much to the story and little Easter eggs as far as the plot is concerned. You're like, oh, now I realize going back and watching it, it is a really fun animation. I recommend that for anyone who hasn't watched that yet.
So, serious question. Can we all cosplay as Shira character?
Yes, please, Princess of the Power.
What cartoons are you watching? If you like this episode, please comment down below, like, subscribe, and follow us on social media. Yes, god damn it, Netflix, I am still watching.
Tina, get your ass in bed.
Stop that.
Okay, so cute.
She's like, but it's just
He looks like every other cat.
No, he doesn't. How dare you?
No, he's got a fat Mr. face.
I know,
Mr.
but he's not a fat kitty
put
cat
that
like
on
my
his
cat looks like he needs to
Tinder
lose some weight.
profile. If you're looking for a fat Mr. Face, I'm your cat. Meow.